Hey there, welcome to the List Amir channel. Welcome to your weekly love guidance. We will be using the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle deck by Amanda Lovelace to give us guidance for this week in reaching the high vibration of love that we deserve and require and want. What is the love guidance here? Every time I say love guidance, I keep thinking like I'm the love doctor. Look how sprung I got you. Look from that song. Dun, dun, dun. I love Fitty. Fitty's my guy. Bruh. Okay. Villain. You can always rewrite the story. And voyage. You already have all the answers in reverse. This is really funny because there could be some travel here, there could be some distance here, there could be a lot of emotions here. This is taking place at night. There could be some secret hopes or hopes for the future here. The moon is full in one of these, and the moon is almost going into a new moon in the other ones here. So it looks like things are being illuminated and also shifting. So it feels like in love, there's this environment of change. In love, there's this environment of change, but it's change that's taking place quite subtly. And it's emotional change, even for some of you, like emotional change, turmoil, turbulence, and an emotional voyage that some of you have been on. We see this mermaid over there in the background, and I feel like for some of you, honestly, you may have been coming from a situation that really had you in your feelings for a really long time, or are still in that situation. Because this mermaid is all up in here, maybe deep in that water, honey. With villain here, I feel like do what's right for you. You know, do what's right for you to get by. Do what you need to do. You can always rewrite the story. So you don't have to be stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in. And by that, I mean mentally. So this is if you felt rejected, or if you felt like you've been waiting on someone, if you felt like no one will love you, if you feel like you're not in a place where, whatever, you can fake the funk, baby. And by that, I mean, look at the scripting video that I have on the channel. It should be in a playlist. That's about, like, I don't know, Meet Your Reader or something, that playlist. And in that scripting journal, which you can pick up your own you can pick up your own journal. The links are in the description box below. Pick a color. You can always rewrite the story, like re-script it. So let's say you were, I don't know, because I mean it's difficult, because there's definitely some situations here that have left physically lasting impacts on you. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, let's say for instance, there's a situation or a situationship or story or person in your history or recent past or current life that really fucked you up. It really messed you up. You can try and fake the funk by rewriting that story. By that, I mean literally putting pen to paper and writing out what happened, but in a way that is more favorable for you. You know? There's something about that. The brain cannot tell the difference between make-believe and reality. When you're watching a horror movie, when I'm watching a horror movie, I still be screaming at the jump scares. I've been screaming at random parts. That's not life. That's a movie. Like, I can pause it. It's not real. But my brain, tell that to my brain, baby. I'm still reacting, right? When we're listening to anything, like we can tell ourselves a certain story or write a certain story for ourselves that we can keep reading. This could be even like in your vision journal, your vision book, your vision board. You can script a love story for yourself. You can and read it every so often and let it give you all the goodies that you want. You can write an apology letter that you never received that you would have wanted. You could do all sorts of things. I am going to read this to you, so don't worry about that. But with Voyage, oh yeah, there sure is travel here. Didn't I say that? Did not register. With Voyage, you already have all the answers. It's showing up in the reverse. With me in this deck, we have an agreement about what reversals are, but I feel like you do have the answers, or you have the ability. Perhaps you're a reader, perhaps you're an intuitive. I mean, if you're watching this right now, you have some answers available to you. You have an abundance of answers available to you. Knowledge that a large percentage of the world does not have, and that's in the form of watching channels like this, channels like any other pick a card reading or astrological reading. Like, you're in this group of people that are able to tap into the unknown and get answers. So you do have all the answers. It's just, I feel like you're drowning in it. You're sifting in what's true and what isn't true, what's real and what isn't real, and most importantly, what's true for you, what's real for you. What you want to be the truth and what is the truth, and that's hard to digest, or what is the truth and is also the truth, which is difficult to reconcile. So I feel like you do have all the answers, and in having all the answers, you don't have the answers because it's overwhelming. So much water, so much moonlight, so much night. The sensory overload is kind of insane with how much you don't know and how much you do actually know and have available at your fingertips. At night, it's not like the daytime. The daytime is full of light and colors, and it's sensory overload in that it can be because of all these colors and smells and noises and animals. At night, it should be calmer because everything is pretty much, in the same shade family of colors. There's not much sensory overload. But what this is, it's a night that has so much energy in it anyway that it is a sensory overload. You know what I mean? So your emotional space is really out here grinding. It is really out here grinding. So let's go ahead and see what Spirit has to say about all that. You've been feeling lost for a while now, wandering through your life, aimlessly searching everywhere for meaning, and never coming up with anything of substance. That's the problem. You keep searching for answers outside of yourself when all the answers can be found within, if you take the time to look. You need a spiritual mentor, and at this point in your life, that person needs to be you. So I do feel for some of you, you are doing readings, conducting readings, doing divinatory things to find out what it is about your future, what it is about your present, what it is about your past that brought you here, what could have changed, and all of these sort of like overwhelming things. Like, you do have access to the answers. But what Spirit wants to remind you of, what Spirit wants to remind us of this week, or at least in this moment, is that you get to decide. You get to decide. You still get to decide. You still have to have, the human experience on this planet. You didn't come here with the tools of the divinatory to take you away from being a human being and become a human, searching, a human reading, a human whatever. You still have to live your life and make choices that are for you. I get it. People don't want to make mistakes. And we'll look at this villain card. People don't want to make mistakes. They want to make the right thing to get to the right places. But the thing is, sometimes that's not what our path calls us to. Perfect in the divine's eyes is vastly different from what perfect to us as a human means. When we make mistakes, the divine still says, you're perfect. You're so perfect. When we have blemishes, when we have limbs missing, when we have scars, when we have diseases and illnesses, the divine still says, you're so perfect. You're so perfect. You're so perfect. When we do terrible things to other people, the divine still looks at us and says, you're so perfect. The divine's idea of perfection is different from our idea of perfection. And sometimes that's something that we really have to think about when it comes to living our life and making the choices that we make. Sometimes you were meant to make that mistake. Judas was meant to crucify Jesus. You know what I mean? So those are things that I think about personally, about what the divine plan is. Joan of Arc burned at the stake for doing God's will. Who else in present day has said this is God's will and they've been crucified for it by the world? It's just interesting, okay, to see what role we play in the divine perfect plan, and how when we just bring that down to our world, there are certain parts that we play to our lives and others' lives that tell for a better story than not. If you're watching this and you've been scarred before by somebody, what if that was part of the plan? As hurtful as it was, what if it was part of the plan to get you to be where you need to be to get the thing that you really want? Or the thing that's for you? How jarring is that to think about? Shit's weird, man. Villain. Let's go into that. You can always rewrite the story. A hard truth to swallow. Sometimes our villains win. However, that doesn't mean you should give up or lose all hope. It just means that it's time to rewrite the story and keep going. It can be incredibly freeing and empowering to reclaim yourself after a personal tragedy. So, if you've been going through it, or you're coming from a period of time where you've either gone through it, you're in it, or you've surfaced out of it, this message is for you in that. For those of you who've gone through it and are getting into this, afterglow, this coming out of it, you are being given a chance this week, a reminder this week that you don't have to be your past. You can do things, you can move in a way that tells a different story. Or at least you can dictate what you want that story to be moving forward, right? If you're currently going through it, big fucking hugs to you, dude, because that shit sucks. But what this is telling you is there is another side. Life isn't over, life isn't ended. While you're going through it, Spirit sees this turmoil, Spirit sees all this emotion and all of this craziness going on inside of you. And it's also here reminding you that there will come a time when you will wake up and this won't hurt as much. You won't feel it as much. It won't be as heavy to you. And you'll be able to step into a rhythm of life which is more suited for where you want to go moving forward. For those of you who are already there, Spirit's saying, yo, awesome. Keep writing that story. What story do you want to write now that you've, moved through this? Who are the characters that are going to be part of the story? Are you going to be the hero? Are you going to be the villain? How are you going to be? What's the character arc, right? Like, where is this going? So I wish you everything. I really do. Keep your light on, honey. Good luck. And I'll see you next time.